Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is how to find your first job in medical coding with no experience. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay, I get the question many times from people either researching the field, wanting to get into medical coding, or from brand new certification holders saying, Blue, everybody wants experience and they want 2 to 3 years of experience. How am I supposed to get in if everybody wants experience? Or I've never done medical coding before. How do I get in if I have no experience? Well, here's the deal. Employers are going to want experience because a lot of employers either don't have the time or don't have the patience to train new people. Now that is unfortunate, but the way that we overcome this is, number one, you have to be persistent. That is number one. If you want to get into this field, it does happen, but you have to prepare yourself mentally and you have to prepare yourself to be persistent because they are going to tell you no. I went through many no, get experience and come back. I have been through that so many times. But the thing is, you are not supposed to wait until you see a job listing that says entry level because you're going to be waiting for a long time. So go ahead and apply for these positions that want 2 to 3 years of experience, because as long as it is something that you are qualified to do, what is the harm in applying? All these employers are going to put out there, yes, they want experience first, because again, they don't want to have to train. But sometimes the market is so that the employer has to take a chance on somebody new because everybody who has experience is already working. So because of this, employers might say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take a chance on somebody new. So let's see who we have that's new, who's applied. Now, if your resume looks good and if your cover letter looks good, that's already going to shine a positive light on you. I have seen so many people with resumes that are just, there's no direction. There's no solid information on there as to what they were trained in. There's a lot of repeating. And here's the thing, guys, you may not have experience, but you have training. And that training is a lot more valuable than you think. Now, these employers, they don't know you. They don't know your school and where you were trained or what you were trained or how you were trained. So you need to tell them in your resume, what were you trained in? What are the skills that you have? And on your skills list, you should not be putting that you're a team player. You should not be putting that you are organized or that you are punctual. Those are your soft skills, okay? Everybody's got those, right? We want hard skills in those in your skills list. So tell them what you were trained in and be very specific. And don't be lazy and say ICD-10. ICD-10 what? ICD-10 CM or ICD-10 PCS? You have to be very specific. And what position are you applying for? There's a lot of resumes, and I do resume rewrites. My rates are in the description box below. I get a lot of resumes where I don't know what the person wants. This is why I do meet, when I do a rewrite, I do meet with a person to find out what position are they looking for. What is something that they would want to do, right? Either billing, or if they were wanting to get into outpatient medical coding or inpatient medical coding, it needs to be specific. These employers, you have their attention for about 5 seconds. And if a really good resume is written out for them to see, and they can see all of your skills and they can see all of your employment history, and your employment history that has transferable skills, right? Because we all have transferable skills, guys. If you've been in the workforce for any amount of time, or even if you've been a stay-at-home mom, you still have transferable skills, right? Because moms or dads, stay-at-home dads, you all have had to be organized. You've had to be punctual. You've had to take care of your children and do first aid on them and things like that. So those are, you've had to work with budgets and money. So those are transferable skills that you can list. Don't discount any of your time doing adulting, okay, guys? So whether you've been a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home spouse, you know, you can still put stuff down on there to make yourself look good to an employer. Because again, these employers, they have about 5 seconds to look at your resume. And if you have a really good resume that's nice and organized and clean and not filled with clutter, and by that I mean employers will typically run a background check 10 years. Sometimes they'll run 15 years. So I tell people on their job history, only go back 10 years, okay? If you've been working at the same employer for 20 years, that's fine. You can leave all that time on there. But if you have multiple jobs, just clean it up, okay? Clean it up and make sure that you have on there at least 10 years back, right? 10 to 15 years back, so that way you can show a work history on there. And make sure that when you are talking about like your experiences, if you've had an externship or an internship for medical coding, what did you do? How many of those charts did you work on? What specialty did you work on? Okay. And if you've never worked in an internship or externship, that's okay too. A lot of brand new coders don't get that opportunity and they're still able to get jobs. It really is, number one, the persistence of the job seeker. Number two, you've got to get creative. You've got to get creative in the fact that you got to look at different titles, because not all positions that are medical coders are the only ones that are out there, right? Sometimes they are listed as different titles. Health information tech, revenue cycle technician, I saw that one. Medical records tech. They are also listed under coder or medical biller or medical revenue integrity cycle specialist. They have a lot of weird names. So sometimes you have to kind of play with the names and the titles so that way you can kind of get all of those to come up, right? And see the different job listings. But you really do have to look at the job listings and you have to look at what they're asking. A lot of times people will ask me, Blue, what is coder 1, coder 2, coder 3? The job listing will tell you in the specifics what that coder 1, coder 2, coder 3 would be, okay? So you can look at that. And sometimes it's different everywhere, which is why I haven't done a specific show about it. Some facilities will call a coder 1 somebody who codes for the ER, and sometimes coder 2 is just for like same-day surgeries. So a lot of, op notes and things like that. And, for some, coder 2 is a clinic coder. So, I mean, it really all depends. So take the time to read the job listings and go through those. So that way you can go ahead and start, looking at what's in the job listing. The job listing, there needs to be an element of it in your resume. So again, like I said, if you're listing on your skills, ICD-10-CM, ICD-10-PCS, if you were trained in that, CPT, HCPCS, if you have those in there, okay, that's something that machine, a lot of these companies use machines to see how much of this resume is matching up to this job listing before they forward it on to like the hiring people. So that's why you got to make sure that you look in there and see what they're asking for. If they're saying that a candidate must be proficient in English, are you proficient in English? If you are, yes, written and verbal, excellent. Excellent written and verbal. Okay, if you are bilingual, you need to put this on there. Well, Blue, why would I need to put that I'm bilingual on there? What does that have to do with medical coding? It's your skill. It is your skill, and it is what is going to set you apart from the next candidate. So think about that. If you are trying to set yourself, ahead of the pack, you need to let them know what your skills are, all right? And them knowing that you're bilingual is great. If you are trilingual, if you're a polyglot, hey, let them know, because you never know who that place is servicing, okay? What kind of clientele do they have? So that is very important that you are putting that information on there. And that resume and cover letter is going to get you a lot more calls faster than if you have a terrible resume. Terrible resume, terrible cover letter, or if you're doing the same one and you're blanketing it to everybody, you're not going to get a call, and you just wasted your time. Because I've heard from people, Blue, I applied at 50 and 100 places and I never got any calls back. Did you use the same resume? Well, yeah, that's my resume. You need to make sure that it's tailored. If that place is asking for a health information tech, you need to put that you're looking for a health information tech position. Okay. If they're saying they're looking for a revenue cycle tech, I'm looking for a revenue cycle tech position. Whatever the title is, you need to make sure that it's in your resume. You need to make sure that it's in your cover letter. And a lot of people will moan and groan, oh, Blue, I don't want to have to. Okay, if you want a job in medical coding, this is what you have to do to get noticed. All right? So that's what I'm telling you guys. When it comes to presenting yourself well as far as on paper, because this is where they're going to see you first, is on paper. And yes, they are going to want you to step up your game when you are on paper, because this is what's going to get their attention. If you don't have something that's well organized, you're not going to get called, guys. Okay? But at least even if you're brand new and you're bringing these skills and these are the skills that you've got, then okay, they know, all right, this person was trained in outpatient medical coding. Great. Now we know we're looking at somebody who's wanting to be an outpatient medical coder. Let's go ahead and give them a test. You have to be able to pass this test, guys. So if they're giving you a test, you've got to put your best foot forward. You got to make sure that you are just doing the best that you can. Don't overthink, but do the best you can, because that is them testing you to see what you know. If they're testing you and they see that you do really well, you know, there's a good chance, hey, maybe you'll make it on to the next round of interview things, you know. But again, that's the way that this industry is. Do I wish that it was different? Do I wish that more employers would take a chance on new people? Yes, I do. Because I do not believe that just because a veteran coder has years of experience that they are so knowledgeable. Because there's a lot of them who just stop learning, and they stay in the same clinic. They do the same thing day in and day out, and they don't try to expand and learn, but they just have years in because they happen to get in at a certain time. So again, guys, you know, just because somebody has a lot of years of experience, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know a lot, you know. And somebody who's brand new, I think, would be a lot more valuable because, number one, they have no bad habits to break. Number two, they're going to be so up on the current guidelines, and they're not going to be so resistant to learning something new. All right, because you're brand new, you're a brand new sponge, and I think new people are great. So again, if you're out there and you're applying and you see that they say, well, we don't accept CCAs or we don't accept CPCAs, guys, you can still apply anyway, but do you really want to work at a place like that that doesn't really understand the impact of what a CCA and a CPCA would be able to do? You know, again, so think about that when you're applying. And even if they're not asking for your credential, go ahead and apply anyway. It does not hurt. I applied for a level 1 trauma hospital. They weren't asking for a CCA, but I went ahead and applied anyway, and I got the job. So I got the job and I did very well at that job. So that's the thing, guys. When you are out there and you're looking for a job, I was a CCA at the time. Okay, so just so you guys know, I have a CCS and a CCSP currently. So when I got those credentials, my CCA was dissolved. Do I wish I could have carried it even still today? Yes, I do, because I think that CCAs deserve to have a lot of really good feedback about that credential, because it is a very good credential. It's a very hard to get credential. And so somebody who has it, it demonstrates a proficiency in inpatient and outpatient coding. And I think a lot of times employers don't know that. Okay. So that's something that I will always advocate for the CCA. All right. But again, if you are carrying the CCA or even the CPCA, that is okay. You can still get a job. You can still make yourself look really good, and you can still be competitive. I had the CCA for 13 years, guys. For 13 years, I carried that credential. I was proud to carry that credential, and it did hurt me the day that I had to put it to bed, because I didn't want to let it go. But as soon as I got the CCSP, which I got that in March of last year in 2021, as soon as I got it, it dissolved my CCA, because that CCSP outranked the CCA. And the CCA is not a apprentice credential. For those that ignorantly say that the CCA is an apprentice credential, it is not. It is an entry-level credential, and that is something completely different from an apprentice, okay? But I will be talking about the CCA on a separate video. But in this video, guys, I want you to know that it is possible to get a job as a brand new medical coder. You have to be out there. You have to be proactive. You have to have a good cover letter, and you have to have a good resume, okay? So just make sure that you know that. I've done videos before about resume tips for brand new medical coders. And again, I do the rewrites. My information is in the description box below if you can check that out if you're interested in that. But guys, you have to be out there and you have to be proactive. register with a temp agency. I say this a lot. When you are in your area, you can Google for temporary agencies for medical professionals, and all of the temp agencies that specialize in medical professionals will pop up. Sometimes you'll see some for billers. Sometimes you'll see some that are looking for medical coders. Sometimes there's like a little short assignments. But all the assignments that you get put on is going to be filler for your resume. And not only that, you're going to be making connections in the real world, right? Because, hey, this is a person that's coming in to fill in a seat. We're not really expecting a whole lot of that out of them, but we're going to see what they can do. And sometimes employers will use the temp agencies to find somebody new so they can try them out, like a try before you buy type deal. Before they start, you know, going in and having to do all this background check and do all of these screening tests on them, they can go to the temp agency and say, hey, can you send us somebody over? And if it's a temp to perm, right, temporary to permanent position, they want to see how well you're going to work out. Sometimes these employers, you know, they look at these candidates and they want to make sure that they're going to work out before they really start investing all this money and this time and this energy into them. So if that's what it's going to take, then that's what it's going to take. That was how I got my first job in medical coding. It was getting to the temp agency. And I didn't want to either because I didn't know. And I thought I knew everything too. But getting out there and going to the temp agency, within a week, they got me a 3-month assignment. In this 3-month assignment, they were saying, okay, well, you know, we're going to have you all, there's 3 of us, right? And we're only going to keep 1 of you at the end, but we need 3 of you to help us with the backlog. Well, I didn't get picked. And it wasn't because I didn't have technical ability. It was because the supervisor was like, well, you know, she had her little favorite, so that's okay. I wouldn't want to work for her anyway. But it turned out in my favor because I got another offer for a longer assignment. And that assignment would have been for years. But, you know, 8 months in, I said, you know, I'm trying to get back home. And that was my whole goal, was to get back home. And when you have it in your head that this is what you want to do this, and you want to get a job, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a job in my hometown because they wanted me to have experience and everywhere. I had to move. You don't have to move, okay? Do not write me and tell me, well, Blue, I can't move. I'm telling you right now, I had to do that. I'm not suggesting that for everybody. I am just telling you what I had to do. I had to move. Okay, that was a sacrifice I was willing to make. Okay, that's not a sacrifice for everybody. So please don't tell me, Blue, I can't move. Okay, guys, that's not what I'm telling you guys to do. I'm telling you what I did. So I went to this assignment. I was there 8 months, and I started applying for where I am now. And the people that were around me told me, well, Blue, you shouldn't apply. They're never going to pick you. Little did they know. Little did they know there was another plan for me. Okay. Not only did I interview, and I interviewed very well, and I thought everything was going to be great, and I was going to have this great position because I was going to be able to come back here, which would be closer to my hometown. I didn't get it the first time, but the second time that it came up again, I applied again, and they ghosted me the first time. They didn't call me back. It was a really good interview, and it was very promising, but I didn't get a call. And so rather than be discouraged and give up, the second time when they posted that same position again, but it was a higher position, I went ahead and applied again because I said, there's no way that was a bad interview. That was a very good interview. And I want them to remember me because what's the worst they can do is just tell me no. And so within 2 days of that job closing, I had a job offer. So that is something to inspire you because, look, that's what I had to go through. I went through rejection and rejection. Okay, and now look. Okay, so now I got that. I got what I wanted, which was to get closer to home. Okay, and that was my whole goal. So anytime you set a goal for yourself, you're not going to let anything stop you. And yes, I know it is difficult, guys, to find a job. I get that because I was there, you know, and I've heard from people, well, you didn't look long enough. That was still, you have no idea what I went through during that time. And what I had continued to do, because even while I was still looking for a job in medical coding, I was still working 2 and 3 jobs every week. Hard physical labor jobs. I cleaned houses. I worked at a bar. I worked at a halfway house. And these are not fun jobs. These are very physically demanding jobs, and people treat you cruel and they're mean to you. You know, you have people who are, you know, not the nicest to you in the halfway house. You have people that that are not the nicest to you when you're working in the bar either. They talk to you all kind of crazy ways, but you have to do what you have to do to survive. And that's exactly what I did. And so when you get into a position like this, you know, then you're going to be grateful for what you have. I am very grateful for what I have. And that's why I want to share this message with all of you, is that if you're out there and you're feeling dejected and you're feeling like, I'm never going to get in, guys, get up, change your approach, change your resume, change your cover letter. Look at those tips. If you don't want to pay to have me redo your resume, that's fine. But at least look at the tip videos that I have about resumes for brand new medical coders. Don't try to sit there and fluff it all up and say, I'm sorry, and all this other stuff on your cover letter. Guys, don't apologize for applying for a job. You know, don't make yourself meek. This field is for strong-willed people, guys. It is. And even if you're a shy person, I'm a shy person myself, believe it or not. But it really is on you guys. So don't give up out there. Keep applying. Apply for risk adjustment, okay? Apply for medical records tech. Apply for medical coder. Even if they're asking for experience, you still apply anyway. Don't apply for an auditor position or a clinical documentation improvement specialist, because obviously that is too out of your league for that one, okay? But you do want to apply for those medical coding positions. Don't listen to people when they tell you that, oh no, you can't find a job, because yes, you can. At least that's just my advice anyway. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please share it, like, subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.